So with that, we move into what is known as the, paramount crisis associated with this stage 8, advanced age, in Erikson's theory of psychosocial development, and that is integrity versus despair, with integrity being the positive outcome associated with this particular stage, and despair being the negative. So with integrity, um, those who are satisfied with what they have accomplished in the course of their lives are able to integrate their experiences into an overall narrative which imparts a sense of satisfaction and contentment. This leads to wisdom, which Erikson defined as informed and detached concern with life itself in the face of death itself. That's an interesting quote that I found from Erikson himself regarding wisdom, which is supposed to be the ultimate positive outcome for this stage as the result of life integration. The negative outcome would be despair. So those who are not able to discern a productive life in retrospect are filled with regret and despair at the thought of missed opportunities. This can also lead to hopelessness and depression. So as integration leads to eventual wisdom and acceptance of death, despair in turn leads to hopelessness and depression, which results from regret. And I guess you would not be as prepared for death as somebody who overcame that crisis in a positive way, leading to integrity and wisdom. So for these next slides, they're so packed with information that I'm going to be reading directly from the slide itself. So the slide is basically the transcript for what I will be discussing. In her own words, MW was born into what we might refer to as a dysfunctional family. From the age of 3, both of MW's parents, while intermittently present in her life, were not always around. Arrangements were made for MW to reside with an aunt and uncle, better equipped to provide care for a child at that time. MW speculates this was the result of improper family planning, as her parents were young and not equipped to deal with what was associated with the planning of a family at that time. Some of her most prominent childhood memories include feeding the family chickens, cleaning and chores, using an outhouse until she was about 10, and learning how to play the piano and sing, which later on became very important to her. MW came from an extremely modest background, but made a name for herself initially through music and then through teaching. At 19, she received a full scholarship to college, which was very rare in those days, especially for an African American woman, in the South. This scholarship was due to her musical abilities. She attended, graduated, and began teaching shortly thereafter. So from above alone, it is easy to confirm MW has never allowed shortcomings such as gender, race, socioeconomic status, and expectations or prejudice to get in the way of her striving towards her dreams and goals. MW described many instances where racism, sexism, and oppression in general could have allowed her to withdraw or retreat, but she has always fought against obstacles to come out on top. Constantly striving in the face of adversity has gotten MW through the death of close relatives, including her husband and sister, as well as multiple occurrences of cancer. Given her sustained independence, MW is 78 and is still able to live on her own and take care of herself, as mentioned previously. I believe coming from humble origins and striving to establish her career and her place in the community helped to cultivate the strong sense of coherence previously discussed. So in the way of family, social support, as well as speaking a little bit about institutional support through the church, MW's family has provided her with the source of sadness, including unstable beginnings in which she was only able to intermittently see her father and mother, support, including her aunt buying a used piano for her, which allowed her to cultivate a skill that took her to college, as well as getting married and raising a son who went on to be a successful musician, and redemption, including reconnecting with her mother, sister, and brother in old age, or advanced age, rather. Overall, MW sees these struggles with family as part of her story and has derived meaning from every experience she has had with them or because of them. As previously noted, MW has attended church most Sundays going back to her childhood. The church and religion has played another large part in MW's life. In fact, her motto in all things is put God first. MW's religion places importance on continued perseverance, even through demanding obstacles, and a good example of this would be Job, or the book of Job from the Bible, and all of the obstacles he faces, but he perseveres through them, and as a result, he curries favor from God, just because his perseverance paid off, and it was a sign that he had well-placed faith. So keep that in mind when thinking about the background from which MW is from. A study conducted by Lowenthal and Haven in 1968 found that social support was an important factor in the mental and emotional well-being of advanced age individuals. Continued support from MW's family and the church have given MW a purpose around which to organize her life. In concert with 1, a strong sense of coherence, which I spoke about previously, 2, a natural tendency to fight through obstacles, 3, a safe home, 4, access to healthcare, and 5, independent transportation, it's easy to see why MW believes her life is continuing to go down the right path. So the other perspective that I will be utilizing as a view of the narrative in my review of MW's narrative is the existential perspective. According to Rogers, existentialism focuses on the meaning of life and people's view on existence. It teaches that people have control over their lives. People are cognitive beings who can think critically about who they are and who they would like to be. The existential perspective may be utilized to assess how deriving meaning from religious ideals can support a sense of well-being throughout advanced age, such as in MW's case. MW uses religious ideals learned through the church to ascribe meaningful lessons to rough or difficult times she's been through. When faced with a difficult time or situation, finding meaning in this obstacle or deterrence can help to overcome the anxiety and depression usually associated with even the most traumatizing events. MW is able to persevere with a sense of well-being through so many rough patches because she believes they are trials meant to bolster her faith in God, similar to the trials of Job in the Bible. The limitations of this theory: with the existential perspective, focuses on psychological and even spiritual, to some extent, aspects of the issues, due to the fact that the priority is placed on the meaning derived from life itself. While this is important to consider, given my chosen stage in Erikson's theory, advanced age, not much attention is given to biological factors which have and may continue to impact MW's life. So, for example, while we may get at exactly how the crisis from Erikson's theory is resolved in MW's mind, as well as how she feels about where her life is now and what it means, we would be completely missing an opportunity to assess how changes in diet, any doable form of exercise for her, or even cancer prevention from a medical perspective could further positively impact MW's life and sense of well-being. So that is my presentation. Thank you guys so much for listening. Have a good day. Thank you.